Hello, this is R Rats with Team 4545 League, analyzing the game between Palm Pusher 3 and Jules Raider. This was played in Team Event 53 in the 5th round. Okay, let's have a look. French defense. And now we see what we call the Alyakin-Chatard attack. And it's generally supposed to be frowned on to take this bishop, and yet that's what black does. I remember 40 years ago when I was still rated around 1500, somewhere in there, high 14s, low 15s, whatever. I played a solid Class B player that was rated about 1730, and that really seemed strong to me back then. So it's all relative. He allowed this, we got into this opening and I had white and I played h4 and I already knew the analysis, and he was a French defense player that had apparently never even seen it or figured he could get away with stealing the pawn. And much to my delight, he walked right into this line, and it was something I had studied and knew already. I was still in high school and knew this, and the move I play is knight h3. And I believe that's still main line of what Palm Pusher played. Now, Palm Pusher played something else, so we'll come back to that. I'll just give you an idea here. Bishop d3 is the tricky move, and if black castles, he just gets slaughtered. As far as I remember, I think it ends in a forced mate. If he doesn't take, he's just asking for it here. Queen h5, and it's over. I don't think black has a defense. And if he takes it, whoops. And if black takes, you get this incredible double check. And if the king goes back to g8, you sack your rook, check. See, I'll just show you king h8 or g8, rook h8 check. And it's all over. And let's see if I can remember this analysis. If he comes out, you're just asking for it. Queen h5 check. And my God, you know, what's black going to do here? He's just running out of moves. It's got to be a forced mate in here somewhere. Probably just drop the knight back, make the king come up a little. Well, just covers f4. I see the mate. Okay, here it is. And then this should do it. So, if you're lucky, black will fall into that, but if you're not lucky, he won't. So, what happened in my game, let's see, I played knight h3, queen h7, I played bishop d3, and my opponent played c5, and the best I can remember, I went up here, and he took this, and I checked. He came over, and I took, and then this happened, and black got all these center pawns for the piece, and anyway, well, he's down in exchange. Once he wins the knight back on a8, it wasn't all that clear that he could do it. And I don't remember what I played here. This was 40 years ago, but I know the mistake I made. His very next move. This was a guy that valued bishops. If ever he had a chance to trade his knight for a bishop, he would do it without even thinking, without hesitation. And here his knight's a great piece. He doesn't need to trade it. But let's just burn a move for me. Let's say I played here, for the sake of argument, attacking it. Well, I don't want to say I played that. Let's just say I don't know what I did. Say I played there, burn a move. Okay, on this capture, I made an impulsive move. We're taught to centralize our king in the endgame, and so it's just natural to want to play king takes. You don't want to isolate your pawns, but pawn here opens up the c file and gives me some chances to maybe get that knight out of there, and you'll just see why. If knight c6, you know, king rook over to the c file, and then I play b4, and he can't run his king over, he walks into a pin, and if he comes up to c7, or sorry, e7, I can play knight c7. I could probably even play b5. Anyway, king e7, knight c7, I tries a6, and then when I go b5, my knight gets out, and I'm a whole rook up with a win. So he just got too many center pawns rolling, and I didn't have any compensation in the end, and he just outplayed me. But anyway, Pawn Pusher played this move, which is supposed to be better than bishop d3 because nobody falls into the castling trick, and the game just seems logical now. Now, the thing I want to do if I'm white as soon as I can is probably drop my rook on h6 as quick as I can to keep black from playing h5. And black actually had a couple of chances to play h5 and didn't, and I think that hurt his game. And so castle. So here's a position where black could play h5 and he didn't. Now he played knight b6. And then the pin, and notice black isn't threatening this little trick knight takes here because the bishop is guarded. Okay, so now white does play rook h6, and I think black will regret not doing that. But anyway, so black's a pawn ahead, but really what kind of activity does he have? What kind of play does he have? His French bishop is weak. We accept that in the French defense. It's going to happen. White can and will happily trade his bishop off for the knight, and the white knights will just own this board. So what else can black try? He's miles away from trying to break with c5, which is a thematic break in the French defense. His other break, f6, he certainly does want to probably do because it kind of exposes the weakness on e6, but it's white's move, and white has a chance to do something here, and he does. So this further takes away the break f6 from black. Let's just say for a moment, suppose black tried this. The idea is now maybe he's going to get c5 in. Some of us, we play impulsively. We don't want to double our pawns, but sometimes that's what you have to do because this gives black a chance to do it. And just a neat trick, this comes up to the Nimzovich. This isn't a force line, but I just want to demonstrate the principle. Okay, c5, now let's suppose white plays c3. Well, black takes, and this is one nice thing about having the double pawns. You get to break again. And I'm not saying this is forced and white doesn't have better, but it's certainly a plan to try for, and it's quite acceptable to accept double pawns in some of these positions, okay? So remember that trick. It'll come in useful. And the net result of this, at some point, black's going to have a protected pass pawn on d5. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen. Okay, so let's go back. So, but black played on impulse. Okay, let's check his time. He had 7 seconds, add 31. He spent 7 seconds on the move because he's gained 38 seconds. He spent 7 seconds on the move. He didn't even think about analyzing b takes c6. The 7 seconds obviously were the time it took him to pick up his mouse and grab the bishop, plunk it on c6, and go on. So how can you play chess if you're not even analyzing other moves? They're going to come up. The Zwischenzugs are going to come up. I've missed them. You've missed them. We've all missed them. And you'll definitely miss them if you don't take your time. Now, white's playing quickly too, but supposedly this is all still theory, so maybe there is some theory on b takes c6, but sometimes just because it's theory, maybe nobody's played that. What's wrong with it? White can't play, well, I can see one thing wrong with it. White can play knight d3. Okay, that might kill it. But black can fight this, okay. Bishop e8. Okay, now bring the knight into c5. Now knight d7. Now you're chasing the knight out. Well, maybe you're not. Now knight a4. Okay. All right, I stand corrected. But still, it needs to be examined. With 7 seconds on his time, white didn't even consider the possibility. But It doesn't exist here, but it does exist in some positions. The idea of taking with the b pawn so that you get 2 breaks of c5. Okay, let's move forward. All right. Now white's really got a tremendous position. He's going to win his pawn back and have penetration into the heart of the black camp on the king side. And here comes the turning point in the game, as far as I'm concerned. Now, one mistake white could make would be b3. That just allows black to come in, check, and I think white's in trouble here. And I'll let you guys analyze it out. But I just positive white's in trouble. Anyway, so white played a3, and this is okay. He might have been able to wait just a move to do it. Okay, in other words, let's take on h7, and I think black may have to take if he wants to do his other plan. And now bring the queen into b4. Now you have time for knight d3, which both defends b2 and attacks b4. And then white's on the 7th rank. White's threatening f7. So this seems to me to be a logical continuation. Although a3 isn't a bad move, I'm not sure if there's a better move. And white's playing quickly too. And I know I won't go into all that, but a3, like I say, this is the defining point of the game. Now let's see how much time black took here. He sacrificed the piece. Okay, 29 seconds gained plus 9, 38. He spent 7 seconds on this move. How can you play chess where you're spending 7 seconds on a piece sacrifice and the compensation is dubious? You guys can't do it. You can't play fast and succeed at chess. You can't. You get lucky once in a while, but you're going to get burned every other time. Now, let's just evaluate this position for a moment. The white knights are untouchable. They're on dark squares where black can't get at them. His rooks aren't getting into action. His queen is pressuring one knight, but if white has to, he can play knight fe2, and the black squares are covered. What compensation does black have for his pawn? The only thing I can think of that he's trying to do is queen this pawn. Now let's just see how many moves it takes. Let's just play fantasy line. Let's put the queen on b2 so it controls the queening square. Now let's forget about the fact that white can play rook b1 here and chase it out. Okay, let's just forget about that. Let's march forward. Okay, now we got to take this. Now we got to take this. Now black gets the pawn running. Let's go eat a pawn. You gonna run another one? There's a queen check here, right? Right? There sure is. So let's suppose black stops and does this. Okay, let's eat this pawn. Now let's shove the pawn again. Now let's eat this pawn. Now let's shove the pawn again. Okay, now look what black has. But look how much territory white has gained in the meantime. Now knight c5. Now let's shove the pawn again. Okay, now finally, black's got it up where he wants it. Now we just take here. We take here. And we're going to go into a winning king and pawn ending right away. Takes, 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 takes. Hello. Black has no defense against the three connected passed pawns. None whatsoever. Game over. So how can black decide he has compensation by sacrificing that piece? I'll never know. And he only spent 7 seconds on the move. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Now he does have an attack on this pawn at this point. He didn't, but again, knight d3 chases the queen out. And here's the point that white should have just taken on h7. It was I think important because black has nothing here, absolutely nothing, as I've already explained. He can't get at the knight on c3. He can't get at the pawn on c2. You know, yeah, sure, the bishop can go to a4 and it can't be taken because of the pin, but what's black's follow-up? c5? Well, there's going to be things happening here. Let's let's look at it again. Okay? Take. Bishop here. Now we're going to take this. Now you finally get c5 in. Whoops! Look what's happening. Now it's a white attack that's getting in there first. Black has a threat to take here, but black's in trouble. Okay, now what do we do? Well, we can... Let's see. I mean, we can even give back the piece if we have to. You know, white's got getting... We did that before. Let's just do it again if we absolutely have to. How about if we just go threaten a checkmate? Let's threaten a checkmate. What's wrong with that? It's a black game. It's a white game, and if anything, white can even just play knight takes c5. That threatens a check on b7, and black has nothing. So white should have taken on h7 here, but he played it cautiously, and it's not a bad move, but it's one of those moves that you can't keep making second best moves against really strong players. Here the rating difference is almost the same. They're about the same ability, but you can get away with it there, but you got to be precise when you're playing somebody much higher rated than you. Okay. So black gets a little bit of annoying counterplay. Now finally the pressure is off on h7, and still I think it's okay to take down here, but black gets a little counterplay with check, but white's on the 7th rank, and as I showed, that's good for white. But now he gets h5 in, and here I think the queen should have come to f3. That preserves options of playing g4 and options of rook f4 pressuring on f7. But it's the second best move, but it's okay. Now there, that's the pawn that maybe black had envisioning giving him some chances when he did this sacrifice. Now it's finally going. Is it going to go any further? Let's have a look. Okay, rook b1. Now white just carefully consolidating. He doesn't have the big advantage he could have had, but he's still a piece up, and black's got some nuisance value, and that's about it. And here I thought pawn pusher didn't play the best move. The move screaming to be played, just grab the outpost, knight e5. It's a terrific move. It attacks the bishop, it blockades the isolated pawn, and just everything else follows accordingly, a la Nimzovich. But his move isn't bad. It offers a queen tray, but black can't oblige that. He's got to keep the queens on. And just more pressure. And this is a good move. The threat is mate. The other threat is to trade off his piece so it can't be used in the defense on the queen side. So black takes it now. And as I say, this just goes into eventually we're going to get down to an ending, but that move just goes into a lost one right away because knight e5 is coming, and that just puts white a whole rook up, and we're looking at curtains here. I don't know why black is playing now, and that's good. Just grab a pawn. It's pinned. You're double attacking this one, but black just went into the quick loss. And I'll show you the last few moves. I'll just go as I talk. There's really not much to it. There, look at that. There's the passed pawn, but it's too late. And just like the other lines I showed earlier, white has those monster pawns on the king side that are going to do him in. And white can pretty much win this any way he wants. He's not even moving his passed pawns yet. He doesn't have to. Black has no defense. But at this point, black finally realized, well, game's over. So it was a good game by pawn pusher. He didn't make any gross mistakes. Jules Rader didn't really make that many himself. Taking on a3 was extremely dubious, sacrificing the knight, and a few other choices he made when he dropped that exchange with rook f7. So there weren't that many errors, but there were some ways for both sides to improve. And hopefully that's what can happen as a result of these videos, that I provide enough food for thought that you can sit down, go over them, and find things on your own. All right. I want to thank everyone for having a look, for taking the time to spend it with me here, And I'm going to be back real soon with another video for you. You can count on that. Take care.